winter break is over and it's back to business for Jurgen Klopp's men. In 3 days' time, they have a chance to book a February date at Wembley. Right now, though, it's all about the Premier League and trying to extend their lead at the top of the table. They're in good form, but so are their opponents, who've won 7 of their last 9 games in all competitions. It is Bournemouth versus Liverpool. All the action gets underway at 4:30. We'll bring you audio commentary of every kick. Welcome along to Matchday Live. The thoughts of Ray Houghton and Neil Mellor to come. But first, let's cross pitchside to the Vitality, to Paul Walsh, and first, Becky Davis.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Welcome to the not-so-sunny South Coast this afternoon here at the Vitality Stadium. I am delighted to say, though, joining us, making his Matchday Live debut this afternoon, it is former Liverpool striker Paul Walsh. Now, I've got to say, myself and Paul have had very contrasting journeys to get here to Bournemouth this afternoon. For me and the thousands of Liverpool fans, it's a 10-hour round trip in the car, but you're a London boy at heart, aren't you? But your final club was Portsmouth, and you've settled down here on the south coast now.
Yeah, I've been down here 31 years, you know. My last club was Portsmouth. You know, your kids go to school and, you know, you end up getting stuck in the area. It's not the worst place in the world to live, but, you know, you get the best of the weather down here most of the time.
I was going to say, it's normally a little bit sunnier, isn't it, when we come down for these fixtures.
Yeah, so it's a bit miserable today, but believe it, it's warmer than it was yesterday, believe me.
Yeah, so I think it's about 11 degrees. We will take that, won't we? Now, we're glad to have you with us today, and also glad to have football back, because it's been a bit of a mini winter break. I think the players got around 4 days off, it was, for the Liverpool squad, but it's 11 days since Liverpool have kicked a ball competitively. For Bournemouth, it's over 2 weeks since they last played in the FA Cup against QPR. Just give us an insight as a player into how a break maybe helps, you know, after a really tough period over Christmas.
We never got a break.
You're not? So you don't feel any sympathy for the players playing too many games then?
No, it's not that. I just think the only problem with a break for me is that, you know, when you're in the zone, things are going well, you're winning matches, rhythm, you're right in the groove, and then all of a sudden, you know, it just stops. And you're expected to go and rest physically and mentally, go and have a rest. And then, you know, form isn't something you can just switch on and off. So you come back 10 days or so later, and you've got to try and, you know, just get straight back on that level. And that's not always as straightforward as you think. And, you know, it can be a danger. It can be a danger. Hopefully it won't be.
Hopefully it won't be here today at the Vitality. We do return, of course, in a very healthy position at the top of the Premier League table. In terms of the title race, I'm sure you've been watching it with interest. I mean, whisper it quietly. A title race does seem to be on. What's your take on it?
I don't think you have to whisper it. I mean, Liverpool, always there or thereabouts. And, you know, Jurgen Klopp will be delighted that they're top of the table. He'll be confident, and he knows there's a long way to go, and so you have to take it a game at a time. Just keep the players motivated, keeping them right on their game mentally and physically, and keep churning out results. That's the name of the game. And
getting a result here would be a big statement, because obviously we know how tricky it can be. Liverpool lost in the Premier League here last season. Bournemouth, of course, in fine form as well. So this is a dangerous fixture, as every Premier League fixture is, really.
Yeah, I mean, generally Liverpool do well here. They didn't last time they played here in the league. And, you know, I think that'll be on the players' mind. And there'll be, you know, sometimes you can turn up at a club that you expect to win at. Your attitude's not 100% on its game. And you come out a little bit maybe lax. Jurgen Klopp won't allow that to happen. The players won't allow that to happen. And, you know, and I fully expect Liverpool to win this game.
OK, thanks very much, Paul. Much more to come from Paul throughout the afternoon, building up to kick-off. We will be back with the Liverpool team news very shortly. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, the guys then, Ray, just speaking about the fact that the team are back after the winter break. It's only the 3rd season there's been a winter break in the Premier League effectively. What do you make of it as a concept? Because it's something that works very well in the Bundesliga, for example, but not been a mainstay of English football.
Yeah, but don't forget, it was just all a year ago we had the World Cup. So a lot of players went, obviously from Liverpool, because they were playing for top international sides, but quite a few weren't playing either. So they had a few weeks off. I think modern players are much more used to it. I think they get on with the gig much easier than we would have done. I think from my generation, you like the training and then the matches that came that way, whereas now the players can go away, they can switch off for 4 days, and that's all it was. They only had a short break. and then they're back in training preparation for today's game. They know the importance. Look, you have the first half of the season, you get yourself into a position, and that's what Liverpool have done. Top of the league, semi-finals of the League Cup, second leg against Fulham on Wednesday evening, through to the next round of the FA Cup, through to the next stages of the Europa League as well. But you're only getting yourself into a position. Now is where the hard work really comes in, and this is where you get tested in the second half of the season.
I think the reality is a winter break. Ray just mentioned 4 days. It's like a long weekend, isn't it? So it's not like you've had a couple of weeks off where you've really got going again. It's a case of just freshening up the mind, the body, maybe a couple of aches and pains, and that's all it is. So I think there's a lot made about this winter break more than it actually is. So I don't think it will have disrupted the players too much. A little bit of a refocus, and away they go again.
I think for the coaching staff and the management was probably more important. There's a lot more hectic being a coach and a manager. You know, it's not just like the players come in and train for a certain time and go out and play. And managers are thinking about the opposition, preparation, watching videos of the opposition that you're going to be playing against, getting everything right. And it's not, you're going into work maybe at 7 in the morning, you're not getting home till 7 that night, constantly, day after day after day, and then you prep work, you know, for the game itself. So they're the ones that probably needed the break more than anyone else. And I think they've done that. They'll probably come back, recharged now, revitalised with everything that's going on, and really looking to the second half of the season.
Sometimes it's good just for a bit of a mental reset more than anything, isn't it, for both players and staff? Different players do different things. Some of the boys have been to Dubai. Trent's been at Milan Fashion Week. You know, things have changed from your day, Ray. It's different interests for the players these days. But we do come back with the team in a very good position, top of the table, Neil, as we touched on, and a chance to extend that lead. And this month's really interesting, isn't it? Because it kind of sets up the rest of the season. Ray's alluded to the chance to book a place in the final of the League Cup, FA Cup games to come as well, and a real chance to stake a claim that we are really in a title race.
Yeah, I mean, last season was disappointing. We were nowhere near it in terms of challenging for the title. We had been the previous few seasons. We weren't even in the top 4 last season. I think it's a big month because momentum, confidence, I think it's such a big thing in football. And you're looking at the games this month. We've got a League Cup semi-final second leg, so all of a sudden you want that momentum, the belief to look forward to the first bit of silverware, which we're hoping will be in the final for that. The FA Cup 4th round against Norwich, you're thinking, okay, all of a sudden another cup run to look forward to there. And 2 massive games in the Premier League. Chelsea at home, okay, they've not been quite at it, but it'll be a tough game. And obviously that Arsenal away game, so some big games around the corner. And you want that momentum to continue. The feel-good factor around the football club, which we've certainly missed last year, but it's there this year.
We've been speaking about the winter break a moment ago. Not all the players have been having a winter break. Some are away on international duty. One of those players, Mohamed Salah, sadly he has picked up a muscle strain. The Egyptian FA are saying he's going to miss a couple of games with that problem. He picked up in the 2-2 draw with Ghana. But a case for us, Ray, watch this space and kind of see how it pans out, because this could be a big issue moving forward. Yeah,
obviously we're going to find out over the next few matches how important Mo's going to be as far as not being in the starting 11, and you know, he's been absolutely outstanding this season with the goals that he scored. Huge loss for Egypt. You know, of course he's going to be, because he's their mainstay player. He's talisman for his international side. He's been absolutely superb whenever he's been called upon, and we're going to find out about, when he comes back, how fit he's going to be. But, you know, if he's out for 2 weeks, in many respects, it might do Liverpool a favour, because he's not playing. I'm just, you know, speaking out loud. It might be good for Liverpool because he's not playing matches. He'll get some rest, recuperation, get the medical treatment that's required, and then come back to the club when he's ready to, you know, start playing once again. But I'm sure he's looking forward to watching his team play, of course, at international level. But also coming back to Liverpool's going to be huge, because he knows what's at stake this season. You know, so many big games coming up. But it's interesting you mentioned what's coming up in the game after game. But the best Liverpool teams I've ever known, it's all about today's game. It's not about what's going to happen in the future. It's about the here and the now. And the most important thing for Liverpool players, 100% concentration for playing Bournemouth today. Forget about Wednesday, Fulham. That'll take care of itself. Today's the most important match for Liverpool. Massive 90 minutes. We played there last March when we lost 1-0, when Mo missed a penalty, strangely enough. And we could have went on to win that game. And we weren't playing that great. At the moment, we're playing much better. Our points return after 20 games is far superior to last season. So everything's looking good, but it's all about today. We're playing against a side that are in good form at the moment. You mentioned there's 7 wins out of 9 in all competitions in recent matches that they've played. So we can't take them lightly. We know the qualities that Bournemouth have got, but they'll know about Liverpool and the standard that they're playing at as well at the moment.
Yeah, just to underline the point on Mo Salah's injury. He's missed 5 games for Liverpool through injury and illness during his, 6.5 years at the club. That underlines how robust he is, so he must have an issue missing those games for Egypt. But, as Ray says, it is about today for Liverpool, and the task ahead is Bournemouth. Let's get the details of Liverpool's team for this afternoon's clash and head back down to the south coast and speak to Becky. Becky.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. We will, of course, actually get Paul Walsh's thoughts on all things Mohamed Salah a little bit later on. But in terms of today's starting lineup here against Bournemouth, injury-wise, Jurgen Klopp still effective with this squad. We were hoping, against hope maybe, that the likes of Dominic Szoboszlai and Trent Alexander-Arnold might be able to return in time for this one. It has, in fact, come a little bit too soon for them. Maybe we'll see them midweek against Fulham. And in truth, there aren't really too much room for manoeuvres for the boss with injuries and absentees today, so it is only 2 changes from that Carabao Cup semi-final against Fulham. One of them, as expected, Alisson comes back in for Quaveen Kelleher, and there's a start 2 up front for Darwin Núñez today. Let's bring you the Liverpool team sheet in full. It is as follows. It's Alisson in goal. The back 4 is unchanged. It's Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Ibu Konate, and Conor Bradley keeps his place at right back. Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Alexis McAllister in midfield. Of course, red carded in the reverse fixture at Anfield earlier on this season, a decision which was later rescinded. Curtis Jones in midfield as well for Liverpool today, and what form he is in. 4 goals in his last 6 appearances. Harvey Elliott got his first Liverpool goal actually against Bournemouth in the 9-0 win last season. He starts this afternoon, and Diogo Jota completes the Reds' starting 11. So Darwin Núñez getting a start up front then, and some young names on the bench alongside Ryan Gravenberch and Cody Gakpo for the Reds this afternoon. Paul Walsh is my guest here at the Vitality. What do you make of that starting lineup?
Well, first of all, it's magnificent the way you did that with a mouthful of hair, I must say.
I'm glad someone noticed. Thank you very much. I'm just going to take it out now.
Very impressed, very impressed. Nice. I mean, listen, obviously there's a lot of injuries and a lot of good players that are not available at the moment. But, you know, I like to look on the other side of that. You know, someone like Conor Bradley to have a place in the team. Harvey Elliott to get another game under his belt.
Yeah.
You know, they're all top players trying to make a career at Liverpool Football Club, which isn't always easy.
Yeah, I mean, let's just touch on Conor Bradley, because obviously the reality is for him, unfortunately, with one of the best in the world in front of you, you're not really going to get an awful lot of opportunities to impress, and he really has grasped his chance, hasn't he?
He has, and so, you know, that you can't do any more than that, and be reliable, you know, good going forward, good defensively, good football brain, and you know, just show the manager that you're ready when you're called upon. You know, he'll be frustrated once you've had a taste of it, because you always want a bit more then.
Yeah, we think that Harvey Elliott will probably slot into that right-hand side of midfield where Ryan Gravenberch was played against Fulham. Harvey Elliott, you've been impressed with him so far?
Yeah, he's got nice feet. You know, especially being a bit of a smaller guy myself, you know, sometimes always worry whether it goes against you in a team. And but, you know, his abilities in other areas and what he does for the team, and his, you know, his lovely feet, his passing ability, and sometimes you know, looks at getting in and to score a goal as well.
Yeah.
So he offers the team a lot, and they've got so many options as well. Even with a lot of players missing, for players to come in and change it up.
Yeah, they've got some defensive issues which we'll touch on a little bit later on when we do the Bournemouth team. But in terms of the front line that Jurgen Klopp has picked today, there's players in there that are capable of causing a lot of problems for that Bournemouth defence.
Yeah, definitely. They're all top quality players. You know, my favourite is probably Diaz out of those. You know, purely because he gets at defenders, he commits defenders. Everything he does is positive, and that's what I like of him. But all of them. I mean, Jota's got a great leap. He can get up and head way above his height ability, and you know, so yeah, they've got a lot of different options as well to come in if he wants to change it, which he has done in recent weeks.
And just a quick word on Curtis Jones. I said when I delivered the team sheet what form he is in at the moment. I mean, almost one of the most underrated midfielders in the Premier League on current
Yeah,
form.
terrific player, and it's another great example of Liverpool, you know, a young player coming into the team and keeping his position, and that's great if you're not bought into the club as such, because, you know, he's come through and the manager wants him in the side, and that must make him feel 10 feet tall, knowing the manager wants him in the team.
Absolutely. OK, just a quick look at the Bournemouth headlines. There are 3 changes for them from their last Premier League game, which was all the way back on New Year's Eve when they were beaten by Tottenham Hotspur. They are Chris Mepham, Max Aarons and James Hill all come in for the Cherries this afternoon. We will have more on their team very shortly. Back to you for now, though.
Thank you, guys. We should touch, fellas, on Conor Bradley in for his first Premier League minutes. Neil, how big an opportunity is it for him today, and how deserved an opportunity, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's reward for certainly the last few games we've seen from him. This was the first one. Obviously, the game away at Arsenal in the FA Cup, he came up against a tricky customer in Martinelli. Arsenal put in Martinelli on, thinking he could maybe make the difference for Arsenal, but I thought Conor did really well with a tough challenge there, tough opponent. But I think it was this game, the start against Fulham in the League Cup semi-final. I thought he started the game really well. I thought the whole team got rocked when Fulham took the lead, and we found it difficult, frustrating in that first half. But second half, he was arguably probably one of the best players on the pitch. He was absolutely outstanding. He really grew with the occasion. I think it helps playing along the side of the likes of Van Dijk and Canate, first team players, rather than lots of young players around. So yeah, he was absolutely magnificent, and maybe that was the test to see if he could handle it, and that's why he's been given that opportunity to start this Premier League game against Bournemouth today.
What stands out, Ray, is the fact he's not just doing the sort of defensive job of a fullback. He's getting forward. You've seen all these clips here. He's willing to get into the offensive area of the pitch and try and do things. He's got confidence to do that, and that says something about him as a player.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can see there with the manager as well. He knows the importance of Conor's performance against Fulham the other week. He was absolutely outstanding throughout the game. Very competent player. Biggest thing I can say about it, he didn't look out of place. You know, he's come into a team that have been playing really well. Trent Alexander-Arnold normally plays that position. You've got to get him and fill his boots in that position, and he's done remarkably well. He's not at the same time. You know, Trent's a one-off when he goes into that inverted position from the right back into a central position with his vision and awareness. He's not that type of player, but he's got other attributes, getting down the line, crossing the ball into the box. We've seen there, creating the chance for Darwin Nunez when the keeper made a good save. But overall, he's came in and he looks like a young lad who's got a great future at the club, and I think that was represented there by the manager going over there, put his arm around him. In the game against Arsenal, when he made that covering header at the back post there, straight away the goalkeeper Alice went up there and high-fived him. So he knows the importance defensively, positional-wise, where you should be on the pitch. So he's got, as I said, he's got a great future, and hopefully does really well today. I think
what's helped as well, and maybe for a few of the younger players, Europa League. Had it been Champions League, they might not have got that game time, so they're around the first team in games, and I think he's only completed 90 minutes this season, but would have taken confidence from being around the first team and getting minutes that maybe might not have got if we were in the Champions League.
The guys touched on Curtis Jones momentarily. It's worth underlining his contribution, his use of the ball. Look at his passing accuracy over the last 5 Premier League games, over 90% accuracy. His use of the ball is so good. And that's what you need at this level. You need players who can look after the football.
Great map, that, isn't it? Brilliant. Just shows you how much he gets around the pitch. You know, he's got great energy about him. I love his enthusiasm when he plays the game. I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I think the penny dropped. You know, as far as what he should do when he's in possession of the ball. It's not always been about safe, passing it backwards and square. He's now getting his head up and he's looking for that killer pass. You know, when he's getting into advanced positions, he's getting into areas we can affect the game. We've seen against West Ham, he can score goals. He's got, you know, a great turn of pace when he get in behind the opposition and finish off opportunities. But I just think as a youngster, he got his chance, and he's just, you could just see him game by game. You know, he's getting more physically stronger, but more aware of where he should be on the pitch. And he now really feels part of the team. I think before he was a little bit timid about things and, oh, should I really be here or not? He's grown in stature and he's become a real leader on the pitch as well.
Completed 114 of 125 passes in the last 5 Premier League games. And what that graphic illustrated, they weren't all just sideways, backwards passes. A lot of them are incisive, forward-thinking passes, brave passes, and that's important.
Yeah. Not a big fan of that stat. And pass completion, because it promotes safe play, doesn't it? But he's a player who is brave. Totally agree with Ray in terms of he's a more mature and a senior player. He's not just a young player now. He is a senior player. He finished last season brilliantly. He had a little bit of a setback because he didn't start the season in the team, and then he had that red card at Tottenham, and you were thinking, how will he respond? Well, he's now in absolutely superb form. He's got goals in his locker. There's no doubt about that. He's a player who can give us something different from midfield, the ability to drive past players. But one of the big things and one of the strengths I've seen from Liverpool this season is that counter-pressing. We've been back at it. And I think him in particular, really understands what is needed when Liverpool lose possession of the ball to try and win it back so quickly. So I think that's something that's been a real positive for him and for the team. Instances like that, he wins the ball back and all of a sudden the opposition are backpedaling towards the goal and opportunities come from it. So yeah, he's earned himself back into the starting lineup.
He's kind of an overall midfielder, isn't he? You know, because he can use the ball, he can win the ball, and as Neil mentioned, he has got an increasing goal threat.
I just like his energy, though. I think before we became a little bit stale in midfield. We didn't have any legs to get up and down the pitch. He can cover the ground. You know, he can press high up the pitch. We see where he's winning the ball back, getting into areas where he can affect the game. We've seen his goal areas, the one I mentioned against West Ham, when he just drove from midfield. And his acceleration in possession of the ball, he's running as quick with the ball without it. You know, and very few players that can do that. But just that awareness of space that he's running into, little drop of the shoulder. These are things that he's improved upon this season. You know, so maybe last season he might not have done that. This season he's taken on more of a mantle as a driving force in that midfield, and I think Dominic in there as well. We've got players now that can get from our defensive third of the field to the attacking third of the field very quickly. That's why I say Liverpool are like Olympic sprinters when they go forward. When they win the ball back in the defensive third, how quickly they get to the forward area. They're not passing through the third slowly. They're direct. They're quick. They're getting into the area where they can affect the game, and that's why they score so many goals and they're so devastating against opposition. They just can't handle them.
Just to say that Fulham goal, I love it. It's a deflection, but rather than the safe pass, rather than maybe being scared to take responsibility, he's got the confidence to hit it. Got a bit of luck with the deflection, but it was a big moment because it was the equalising goal. Great to see him with that confidence. We'll need that today.
If you don't buy a ticket,
there you go. There you go.
There you go. OK, time now to say goodbye to those of you watching on social media. If you'd like to stay with us, though, on Matchday Live, you can find details of how to subscribe to LFC TV and LFC TV Go online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come, we'll be hearing from Ibu Kanati, Jurgen Klopp and Andoni Iraola. That's before live audio commentary of all the action from 4:30 and the Matchday reaction show as well at 6:30. Highlights of today's game will be available to watch for free on Go at 8:30 tonight, and the full match will be on demand and on LFC TV from midnight. Plus, don't forget to look out for Inside as well. That'll land on the club's YouTube and Facebook pages at midnight tomorrow. So victory for Liverpool today would be the fourth on the bounce away from home in the Premier League, and it would see them extend their lead at the top of the table to 5 points. We'll be back with more build-up to the game after this.